Supreme Mobiles and Supreme Super Apple Days. Get instant discount up to 15,000 on iPhone.
Milky Mist Paneer. Milky Mist Paneer.
Velamal feels proud to honor the physical education teachers with 5 cars and 15 lakhs.
Hi Ayushmann, welcome to Galatta Plus. Very happy to meet you.
Hello sir, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'll begin by saying that I think you're one of my favorite actors. I love watching you on screen. I just remember the time that more than Wiki Donor, Nautanki Sala makes, there is a scene where you're describing this hairstyle of this girl you've fallen in love with, and you try to use your hands a certain way to kind of describe that hair, and you throw yourself into that role, your body, your acting, your face, because many people would have just spoken it, but you do things with your hands and this and that. So it's just a pleasure watching you on screen. My question,
I think before you come to that question, it's a mutual admiration society here happening, because I'm a huge fan of your reviews, and I remember the review of Nautanki Sala because most of the people, they were praising my co-actor. And my co-actor introduced that review to me. Look at Baradwaj Rangan's review, that he has really praised you for this film. And he mentioned about this, and thank you so much for that.
Thank you. But my question is, given the fact that so many of your films are quote-unquote light films, they're seen as comedies, even though the subjects are different. I'm not talking about certain films that you've made, but the majority, let's say, right? The Ayushmann Khurrana films. Given that, do you feel that you have not gotten your due the way a dramatic actor would have? Do you think the kind of acting that you do is undervalued a bit?
Because I always keep the film first. I always keep the story first. I come from a theatre background, so it's in my DNA that I have to think 360 degree. I don't have to think about myself, my vanity, my opening scene or whatever. I always go with the story.
Right.
That gives me a different kick, that I have to do something which is very different and unique on this celluloid. So probably that's why. I don't know. I think this was the only way for me, who's not from the city and who's unconventional, to do something different and make my own path.
No, that's true. But do you feel that having chosen this path, the fact that sometimes all these awards go to heavy-duty dramatic roles, right? Do you feel that sometimes the kind of acting that you do is not seen as, it's an easy thing, he does it easily? Is it like undervalued, is what I'm trying to ask?
It really depends on the grammar of your craft.
Okay.
I don't want to disturb the screenplay or the story with my antics.
Right.
It has to be easy and free-flowing. That's how I work.
Right.
So sometimes, a lot of actors, they scream out loud, this is me and this is what I do. So I think more than that, as I said before, that I keep the story first and the screenplay and the film first.
So the fact that...
And on the other hand, I really feel that I'm very blessed that what I've achieved it is more than I'd expected. So I never thought about it.
That.
No,
okay,
I don't.
So you don't think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you started out with a hit in Wiki Donor, and then you had 3 films that did not do well: Bewakoofiyan, Nautanki Sala, and Hawai Zada.
Yeah.
And then you had Dam Laga Ke Hai, which then properly launched you, and you never looked back, kind of a thing. What did those 3 films in between teach you?
A lot. I think failures are the best teachers. And when first film did well, I thought that I've arrived and there's no looking back and this is it, I'm going to be a superstar. But I realized that after Wiki Donor, I was not getting the kind of scripts I was looking for. Wiki Donor was like a benchmark for 2012. And frankly speaking, industry didn't know what to do with me. Like with an unconventional actor like me, who was given a hit, super hit, and I was just looking for that script again. And that happened with Dam Laga Ke Hai. Okay, this was the kind of film I was looking for. And I was really confident. Out of all these films, I was most confident about Dam Laga Ke Hai. Like more than Bewakoofiyan, Nautanki Sala or Hawai Zada. When I read the script of Dam Laga Ke Hai, I knew it, that it's going to be different and I'll be back with this film. So there was this confidence with this film. And I'm glad it happened.
But what did those failures teach you? Like, as in you said, it taught me a lot.
Yeah.
Like, give me one lesson.
It was the lowest ebb, I think. After Wiki Donor, 3 films back-to-back didn't work. I was like completely I nosedived, and it was just, I was thinking, recalibrating my strategy and what to do next. I came from television, I've done radio, a lot of stuff. I was thinking, should I go back to television? And, I don't know what to do. Because I have taken interviews like you, and I have reviewed also for MTV. And since I had seen actors from close quarters, and I could see them, succeeding and failing at the same time. So I've seen the industry very closely as a journalist. So I know what kind of thoughts go in the minds of journalists, trade journalists, analysts, and everyone. So I was thinking what to do. Should I do an ensemble, big ensemble film, be a part of like a project? All these things were coming in my mind, which I didn't want to do because I always wanted to play my own path. And before Vicky Dona, I had said no to 5 films, which I knew will never take off. So first film for me was very important as an outsider because nobody would have given me another chance.
Right.
But with Dum Laga Ke Aisha, it was like a resurgence. It was like a renaissance for me. I thought this will put ये रेलगाड़ी वापस पटरी में आ जाएगी मुझे ऐसा लग रहा था.
But
I know you understood that.
Right.
Your
So-
Hindi is very good. Because while you were reviewing Dum Laga Ke Aisha, you made this special statement that I'm glad that directors and actors who are working on this are probably think in Hindi, not in English.
Yeah.
You did something like that, so it was really resonated with me.
Because it's a very funny line in that movie that says, "मैं अपनी इंद्रियों से हार गया." Such a funny line. I'm not, you have to like think in Hindi to get that line. So
Yeah.
that's kind of, what it is.
उसका मतलब लोगों को बताना चाहिए इंद्रियों से इसलिए हार गए because प्रेम प्रकाश तिवारी in Dum Laga Ke Aisha was not attracted to Sandhya. Despite of that, he sleeps with her. So इंद्रियों से हार गए, it was like that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I that line I think you highlighted. It was very
So
funny.
that was a very funny line.
Yeah.
But when you're doing a film like Dum Laga Ke Aisha, now you're coming back, after 3 movies that did not work, and the first one did work. But then now you're looking for a movie that you know is going to succeed. But at some corner of your mind, was there this fact that I'm playing a character that is not very likable, and a lot of the sympathy is likely to go to Bhumi because of
Yeah.
the role she's playing. Did that kind of worry you at all?
Not at all.
Okay.
Because as I said, I come from a theatre background. Every role is so important, and always thought that it is Prem Prakash Tiwari's perspective. It's his journey, it's his arc, the way he changes and alters, the way he views, his worldview changes, the way he sees his wife from fat shamer to somebody who's in love with that person. So I think I really loved that arc.
That journey, yeah.
And it was such a complex character to play. And somehow I feel I made it likable. Because if that character was alpha, like Vicky was alpha. If in Dum Laga Ke Aisha, Prem Prakash Tiwari was alpha, he would have been a perfect villain.
Yeah.
But he was vulnerable. He was complex about his failures, about not knowing English,
Yeah.
or
He had a whole bunch of complexes himself.
Yes,
Yeah.
So I was very excited about it.
Right.
To play this part.
It's very rare to find actors that read scripts, because a lot of the time directors come and, the directors that I've spoken to say the actors want to know just their parts in a movie, and they want to know what's their entry scene, what's the interval block, what's the climax, and what are the highlights. So it's nice that you're kind of looking at it holistically.
I think God lies in detailing, or the devil lies in detailing. Something lies in detailing, I think. So sometimes I get excited about my co-actor scene. I'm a little weird like that. So I just consume a script like an audience member. That I am watching this film, and if somebody's giving a narration,
Right.
तो मैं popcorn लेकर चाय लेकर बैठ जाता हूँ, मैं सुनाऊँ अपने को, and then I just see it as a film. So I get really excited like that.
Wow.
Yeah. But it just becomes very difficult, after 10 years in the industry, more than 10 years in the industry, to have that childlike inquisitivity and, to watch a film like that. Otherwise, we get into technicalities. Ki's lighting ठीक नहीं है, इसकी वो ठीक नहीं है, इसकी ये line कर लेता है. I'm a very forgiving audience like that. I just love watching films without those, that extra bulk that you get after becoming part of the industry for 10 years.
But is that possible?
It's difficult.
Because
It's very difficult.
I think when you watch films a certain way, there are 2 types of audiences in my mind. One is an audience that just goes generally sits in a movie and says, let me just have some fun. If it's boring, I'll look at a smartphone. If it's not, I'll just like whatever. They're just there for the experience. But then there's the other kind. They may be in the industry, they may be people like me, or they may be even people who are cinephiles who are working in IT or something, but who watch films seriously.
Yeah.
And there is a parallel processing that happens there. At one level, they are watching the story, the narrative, and all that kind of stuff. At another level, they're also looking at the technicalities and how good the something is, or the staging is, or whatever it is. I don't know how you can go back from that and
I'm driven by emotions like that.
yeah.
So I need to connect with the film emotionally. Whether it could be any kind of emotion, fun, laughter, tragic, anything. So I'm driven by emotions. If I connect with the film, with the script emotionally, I just go for it. I love it, without thinking about the lighting or other technical aspects. Of course, when there is a drag, then you think about editing. That's fair. But you start noticing these things when the film is not working.
When the
maybe.
film is not working, yeah. Otherwise,
yeah.
you're sucked in.
You're sucked in.
Yeah. You know, one of your career highlights is easily Andhadhun, right? But that's not a film that came to you. You went after it.
Yeah.
You went to Sriram Raghavan and said, "Give me an audition." First of all, how did you hear that such a project was happening, and what made you say, I need to be in it"?
I have a lot of friends who are like in the industry,
You
but
have a secret network.
I have.
Okay.
I have a
खुफिया-
secret खुफिया एजेंसी है मेरे पास. सबसे बड़ी खुफिया एजेंसी मेरे पास है मुकेश छाबड़ा, who's the casting director. He was telling me that you just go to Sri Ranagan, probably he's thinking about the main lead, and you know, and this script is quite crazy. Just meet him once. So I met him, and he was not at all thinking about me for this film. It's like, I don't see you in this film. I was like, just jam, then let's talk about it. What are you doing next or whatever? So we kept on meeting. We found each other interesting, and we were discussing films and life in general. And then it was like, okay, let's do a scene together. Probably he was taking an audition, but in my head it was a jam. Whatever it was. So I was like, if you want to take my audition, just go for it. And it happened. Like for 3 days.
This was on camera.
On camera, we did 3 different scenes where I lose my eyesight. That one, how I react. And the other one was just, you know, walking like a blind man, or just. So for 3 days we did that, and he was convinced. And somehow that was the only time I really hustled for a film. Because
Only time?
life is a hustle for somebody who's not from Bombay, but that was like a hustle pro max. So it was good fun doing that, but I'm glad it paid off.
Yeah.
Yeah, for Andhadhun, it, like you were saying that I read a lot of scripts and I love detailing, but this was an exception. It was an anomaly in the filmography where he just gave me the vague outline and the story. And every day we used to get a scene with changes made and everything. And we used to get dialogues on set.
This is the old style.
The old style.
Yeah.
So a non-actor cannot work with Sriram Raghavan because you have to be like on your toes. You look at the lines and the shot is ready and just go for it. So it was that kind of exercise.
Did you ask him why he did that?
No.
Is it to keep you in suspense or something?
Nothing.
Uh-huh.
I didn't ask him anything. I always believed him in as a filmmaker. I knew about his process, that he works like this. So it was complete submission.
This is Sriram's process. He doesn't write scripts.
It's in his head.
Huh.
He will probably not give you everything.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
Nice. Okay.
It's all in his head, and you have to trust the process.
Wow.
So I trusted him and went ahead with him. You know, the funny part is I never knew there's going to be like a dark comedy, like a comedy. I knew it's shocking to have these revelations in the film, which were quite crazy. But since you go through you know the story in your head, so you don't find it funny. But when I was at the screening, I was like, why are people laughing?
Yeah.
So we were doing it seriously, both Tabu and I.
But you know, to this day, there are lots of people who keep having these debates about, is he really blind?
Yeah.
You know, all that kind of stuff. It's become one of those David Lynch-like things where people like to debate a lot about it because nothing is clearly like put to the full stop, right? So what about films like Article 15 or Anek? Because were these also to prove a point that I'm not just the guy who does a wiki donor or a dam laga ke haisha. I don't have to be this small town guy. I can do serious dramatic roles. Was that, you know, like, did you want to prove a point to those films?
I wanted to do something like that, but you may always not get that kind of stuff coming your way. I want to do a lot of stuff. I want to do a great character also. But I get a lot of scripts, but they're not great scripts. So I always go with the script. So I saw Mulk, I watched Mulk, Anubhav Sinha's Mulk, and I met him, and I was like, it's a great film, and would love to jam with you. And we started talking about life in general, and we started talking about casteism, and he was very surprised that I had no. Also was the key. I had keen interest in like the social setup, construct of a country and society. So he just told me about the script, and I got really excited. And then they gave me a narration. It was like a standing ovation from my side. I'm like, wow, it's amazing. Especially that scene where the protagonist is all confused about the caste divide. But there was nothing to prove a point, because I always keep a story first. I may do 10 films with a similar structure, but story will be different. Maybe 6 films which are based in Delhi, but the story will be different. So I think I have time to, do different kind of stuff. There's no hurry like that. I only want to do films which connect with people.
Right.
Have a certain connect.
Right.
I'm glad it happened early with Article 15, because I was doing a lot of social comedies, and in between there was an Article 15 and then Andhadhun. So it gave me like a more diversity in the filmography, but otherwise there's no aspiration like that I have to show my craft, because I think I can do after I turn 50 or 60. I have a lot of time.
When you said connect with the people, but when something like Anek,
Yeah.
or another fantastic film of yours, Action Hero, which really, like, I don't know what happened there, but when these don't do that connect, how do you process that? Because when you read
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
the Action Hero especially, it's a fantastic meta, like this, this thing happening.
Action Hero is like a heartbreak.
Yeah.
For me, it's the only heartbreak out of my filmography. But rest of the films, I knew what the fate was going to be. Somehow, I had this intuition after seeing the edit. But with Action Hero, I was like quite sure that because it was spacey, it was unique, it was very relevant, topical,
Yeah.
and kind of like a satire on the media and things were happening that time around pandemic. I don't know what happened. Maybe it was too early. It was just post-pandemic, and the timing of the film. It's multifactorial, the success of a film, but it was a big heartbreak for me. Action Hero. I love that film.
How do you process heartbreak?
You have to be detached as an artist. Like when you're working on a film, of course, you give your everything. You're emotionally attached with the character and the script, and we are in a business of selling emotions, and you give everything to it. But after it releases, you have to detach yourself and move on to the next one. So as soon as Action Hero finished, I was shooting for Dream Girl 2, which was like so different from Action Hero. So it was a good detachment. If I was not doing anything else, it would have been a difficult thing. So,
Right. Your films like Badhai Ho, Article 15, they've been remade in other languages. Vicky Donor.
Also Andhadhun, yeah.
Also Andhadhun, yeah. But you yourself have never done a remake. Is that intentional? Like, are you like, I don't want to touch a role that somebody else has done, something like that?
Original content just gives me a high. More than anything, more than box office success or anything. Original content is something which is my staple. I love to do that. But there are anomalies, like Nautanki Sala was a remake of a French film.
Yeah.
And
I meant
Shubh
the
Mangal
Indian
Savdhan.
remakes. Yeah.
Shubh Mangal Savdhan,
was-
Kalyanam Samyal Sadham.
Yeah.
So,
I missed that one.
only
Yeah,
these
yeah,
two.
yeah.
Otherwise,
But even Andhadhun was taken from
Yes.
that
Yeah.
French shot. Yeah. So
yeah.
yeah.
But again, there are anomalies because I've done 23 films. So,
So
these two.
when you did Shubh Mangal Sadhan,
Yeah.
did you look at the Tamil original? You didn't look at it.
I didn't, because I realized while doing like Nautanki, it was kind of a learning for me that you should never watch the original film. You should just react to the final draft.
Okay.
Draft in hand, because lots is lost in translation. So I didn't watch the original Tamil film, and when I read or heard the narration, I was blown away.
You're not bad. You said Tamil.
Tamil. Yeah.
Did Prasanna teach you that?
Yeah, because I worked with Prasanna. Yeah, of course, that's why.
So, because it's only in Tamil and Malayalam that
Yeah.
they have that word.
And
That
they said
syllable.
dosa also, like not dosa, right?
Yeah, it's dosa. No, not
Dosa.
that. We should have a conversation about this actually. So,
That's why I was like surprised we speak fluent Hindi being from Chennai. It's like, I love linguists.
multilingual.
Multilinguals, yeah.
That's kind of a.
Yeah.
You do music, you do movies, you do things all the time. I saw a recent interview where Kumar Mangalam Birla, he said that he's never had a work-life balance, but that was because he chose it that way, and he has no regrets because life is how he wanted it. Do you believe in work-life balance? The reason I ask is, so many people today want to do many things, but they're also taught, or a lot of people saying, you need this balance, you need this balance. But what is your take on it?
Work-life balance is a very privileged thought. From a middle-class upbringing, you're always taught कि काम को कभी ना नहीं बोलना.
Right.
कर्म ही पूजा है. All these things where you can never say no to work, and you live to work, you live to be successful. That's a middle-class aspiration. But when you reach there, then you realize there has to be a balance. So when you claim the privilege, or when you're part of the successful clan, then you realize that balance is important when you have a family. It's not about monetary gains or success and everything. It has to be a balance. And if you're happy, if you can sleep for good 8 hours and be fresh and there's clarity in head, I think that's success for me. There's not been a release in the last 1.5 years of mine, film release. So I think this is the period where I was introspecting a lot and I was feeling that balance. But I know if I have like 3 releases a year, that's when the shift goes towards my professional focus. And then there is I'm not treading that line in between where I'm attaining that balance. But it comes in phases. There'll never be a balance.
Yeah.
It always comes in phases.
Tell me one of the things that you introspected about.
To also focus on music.
Okay.
I want to do a lot of things. I want to write. I write poetry, shairi and everything.
Do you want to direct?
No.
You don't want to direct?
I don't want to direct.
Okay.
Probably I'll produce someday as a creative producer. And act. I want to be a full-time actor to begin with. I think it's a lot of fun to be an actor.
Okay.
You do different kind of roles and it's like an alter ego. You're living different. It's so exciting to be an actor. I think people are gifted who are actors.
You come across like a very confident person. Are you a very confident person?
I have become over the years. It's been a journey, but I was underconfident as a kid. So my father helped me with that maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, I read somewhere that your father was quite the dictator and that, you used to get beaten up and things like that.
Those were different times.
Yeah, but...
Yeah,
but
that was normal that time.
Yeah.
Now we millennials have realized that,
So you
parenting should
think
be
that
different.
contributed to your initial underconfidence? That maybe you were not good enough?
I don't know, but I became a people pleaser maybe because of that. I don't know. Ho sakta hai. I can't say no, but one thing that I have to give it to my father is that he invested in me.
Yeah.
There was a lot of investment from his side as a father.
Emotional investment.
Everything. Like to hone my talent, my skill, to make me confident. I had stage fright. And my first play, I had no lines. So from everything, he used to always tell me to perform on every birthday party, school annual functions. So I was the one who was dancing, acting, singing, doing everything like a triple threat. So it was him who was forcing me to just go on stage and do it.
He's the reason you're here.
Yeah, he's the reason I'm here.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Otherwise, I'm very laid back as a person. I wouldn't have moved out of Chandigarh. Yeah.
When you go back and watch your films, which are the performances that stand out for you? Are you a good self-analyzer?
I am self-critical. I used to be very self-critical. Now I'm very forgiving.
So every movie is a good movie? Every performance?
Nothing like that.
Okay. But which is a good one?
Dam Laga Ke Aisha, Article 15, Andhadhun, Bala, an action hero.
Bala is an interesting choice.
Actually, you're not a Bala fan?
No, no, it's an interesting choice because I thought, that's where I began this thing because there are uh, these comical roles, or like people prefer to they tend to kind of say my dramatic roles are better.
Yeah.
Because generally acting is associated more with drama, right? It's like comedic acting is not generally considered like high enough. I mean, for many people, because especially like supposing you're like in this interview, supposing you're smiling, you're laughing, and you appear like Ayushmann Khurrana, and you're doing kind of a little bit of the same thing on screen as well. Many people tend to think that he's just doing what he's in real life. They don't realize that there's a lot more that goes into it. So that's why it's an interesting choice.
Bala also because I could not empathize with the character because I have good hair. Also, on the other hand, it required a lot of. It was tough shooting in 45 degrees Celsius
With
in
the-
Kanpur and Lucknow with the skull cap. It was. I just love the script, and I also feel that comedy is the toughest.
Yeah.
Only good actors can do comedy. Only good actors can overact. Subtlety, overacting के लिए acting आनी ज़रूरी है. A bad actor जब overact करता है, they look really bad. For overacting for this high emotional, amped up, what do you say, commercial cinema, they're all great actors. And they can easily switch to subtle acting. But a very subtle actor cannot do that. The other side.
The other way around,
Can't.
right? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You kind of mentioned that, you, even though my films kind of look the same, the stories are different. You mentioned that.
The milieu I'm talking about.
The milieu, yeah. But there was a time when a lot of your films had a social issue, something that baldness, erectile dysfunction, this, that, something that you're embarrassed about, or something that you kind of, and then you take the journey to acceptance, kind of a thing. The issue kept changing, but that it kind of for a while became an Ayushmann Khurrana film or a template. Did that in your mind ever feel like, okay, even though these are different, they kind of they're beginning to look the same? Because when I saw Dr. G, that's something that I felt, that somebody is like, just said, I want to make an Ayushmann Khurrana film, and went and made that film. Because there are like brilliant films of yours in that genre. Shubh Mangal Zyada Savan, for instance, I thought was very, very good. And but this, for some reason, felt like a template movie. Do you ever feel that sometimes that maybe I've gone a little too much into that zone and I should pull back and do something else?
I think there has to be a good mix of genres in every filmography, but it's not in your hands. You may get a certain film. I wish there was an action hero in between. I wish there was an Article 15 kind of film just between Dr. G and other films.
Right.
So it just makes a good balance. So release is something, film releases is not
Under your
your control. But at the same time, I'm the only actor who had to make that gear shift post-pandemic. Taboo subjects may not work in theaters anymore. There has to be a universal emotion. Like Bala still had a universal emotion. But maybe like erectile dysfunction or an LGBT film. So these films may work on OTT, but if you're doing theatricals, so gear shift has to be more towards a bigger audience or a majority.
Why do you think like erectile dysfunction as an issue or LGBT might not work today? Is it like because the people who watch them would watch them on OTT? Is that what it is?
Like in the 80s, you remember, the programming of television used to be more for the privileged people who had more better worldview, for example, who are more inclusive. OTT has that audience right now. But in theatricals, you have to go with the majority's thought process.
Right.
That's the only difference I've seen in these 3-4 years after pandemic. Has to be more universal emotion.
It has to appeal to the Hindi heartland.
Yes.
Okay. Are you saying that earlier, some of your earlier films may not have done that?
Because there was no OTT that time, so those kind of films are still working.
Okay, right. So that's
Yeah.
basically you're saying
Yeah.
that certain subjects now have become
Yeah,
niche
yeah,
and
yeah.
kind of thing. Yeah. So despite the success of 3-2, which is a very folksy Hindi film very heartland film, it has folktale, that kind of a horror, that kind of a thing, a comedy. Despite the success, this mega success of that movie, the industry wisdom seems to be that now only macho films are going to work, and these big macho, like obviously because of Pushpa 2 and other hits like the Jawan and other movies. So, what are your thoughts on that? Because I know that once you said you want to do a big Rohit Shetty kind of movie, like a not an action hero kind of movie, but a proper full-on masala mass kind of movie. So, what are your thoughts on that?
Would love to do a mass film, but again, there has to be a differentiating factor in that. Every film has to be unique in some way and attract the audience. If they've seen something like that before, they may not be interested. In that genre, if I get something interesting, I would love to do it. But at the same time, I think the rule changes every year. There's like 2 years back, a year back, it was like all about macho films. Now it's all about horror comedies, maybe. Another year could be only romantic films. I think it'll change every single time. It's about that person who brings that change, and everybody follows that change. So it really doesn't matter. It has to be a good film, entertaining film, meant for a bigger section of people. I think that's about it. It has to engage you for 2 hours somehow and bring you in theaters to show that it's going to be different for you.
That's the key. Yeah. So there's like, if you were to do a mass masala film, just off the top of your head, give me something that would say, okay, this looks interesting, so I will do this. Not just because it has fights or cars are flying or whatever it is, but this is what is going to make me do this.
I've not watched Amaran, but something like that. I know what it is about.
But that's not a mass masala.
But still, I think for me, it's mass masala.
Okay.
If you made it like a Hindi template, and it could be a mass masala film. Depends on the director's take or the vision.
So you still, even that you want, it's just like, because the thing is...
Could be an Article 15 made in a mass masala style. How, as in... but it's the grammar of the director, maybe. It's the vision of the director.
Actually, yeah, there have been films done that way. Yeah.
Ideally, the cop should be from the lower section of the society.
Yeah.
So that the connect is more. For me, Pushpa only works because it is anti-privilege.
Yeah.
It reaches to the BC centers because there's a huge anti-privilege sentiment in our country, rightly. So I think that's the sentiment you need to carry, and probably we don't realize maybe in Hindi that we need to have that anti-privilege sentiment.
If you could go back and do a role, an iconic role from older Hindi cinema, what would it be? I know you're going to choose a Bachchan movie. Correct? No?
Ram or Sham, Dilip Kumar.
Wow, very interesting. You've never done a double role, right?
I have never done a double role, and it all started from Dilip Kumar. I think he's the one who can go subtle and amp up the emotion at the same time at different levels. Everybody follows him. From Bachchan Saab to Shah Rukh sir, he's the template.
Yeah.
So, Ram or Sham, Dilip Kumar.
Yeah, but it's also interesting that you chose one of his lighter outings.
Yeah.
As opposed to, he's
I think
usually known as...
That's his commercial film.
That's a blockbuster.
Blockbuster commercial film. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be interesting to see you in 2 roles.
Yeah.
You should pitch it.
You
want to produce, you should do it.
I want to eventually, but this whole making of a project and writing just takes 2-3 years.
Yeah.
Waqt lagta hai. And yeah.
I'm already picturing it. You with the
So
whip
it
in your hand.
should be a good double role film like Kishan Kanhaiya or a Ram or Sham. The template is same, Chalbaz.
Yeah. Sita, Geeta.
Yeah.
So
one vulnerable, one alpha, one beta. So I think that character shift will be great.
You sound so excited about
So excited. I love Dilip Kumar.
You're a singer-musician.
Yeah.
Again, if you were to pick some songs that you like, Hindi songs, film songs, what would they be? Is there a favorite song?
Can't be a favorite song.
Yeah, so that's why I said...
I love Kishore Kumar songs.
Okay.
He's evergreen.
You're
His
like,
voice...
like if there were a Rafi versus Kishore debate, you would say Kishore.
Rafi was, of course, more classically trained. There is no comparison to begin
So
with.
I always find it difficult because
There is no comparison.
after hearing a song by Rafi Saab, I'm like, I can't imagine anybody else singing it. Similarly, if I hear like Kishore sing a song, I'm like, I'm all.
There's one song called Tum Bin Jaun Kahan.
Yeah, which are sung by both.
Both, which is sung by both.
Yeah. R.D. Burman.
Yes.
Yeah.
I prefer Kishore's version, but both are different again.
I prefer Rafi's
You
version.
prefer because it's happier one. It's ironic that somebody who's known for fun and frolic, like Kishore Kumar, is singing the sad version,
Yeah.
and Rafi Saab, who's a serious singer, has sung the fun, happy version. It's art is so subjective.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can't really compare. But I've liked both of them. I've liked Rafi Saab in phases. I like Rafi Saab of black and white. I like Rafi Saab of 50s and 60s, and I like Kishore of 70s.
Yeah.
So every actor, every artist has like purple patch. So it could be Kishore of 70s and Rafi Saab of 50s and 60s.
Done.
Yeah.
But you never said a song.
Rim Jim Gire Savan. I'm obsessed with Mumbai Rains. And the song.
That's a beautifully shot song.
Beautifully shot, so natural.
Yeah.
No, they're not acting.
Yeah. It's
And
just
for
like the
that
frolicking.
era,
Yeah. It's like
They're
a
just-
documentary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're just walking and splashing water at each other.
Yeah.
And it begins with he's singing in a mehfil and she's just looking at him. It's just so beautiful. You want to be part of that world. That's power of cinema, where you want to be just
Which song did you just say?
Rim Jim Gire Savan.
Oh yeah, that's the one where
Maushmi Chatterjee and Amitabh Bachchan.
no, I'm confusing it. What is the song in which they're both splashing about in the rain and
Rim Jim Gire Savan.
no, that's the one where he's singing in a mehfil, right?
So, and cut to Lata version.
That's the one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, right.
So there are two versions.
Yeah.
Lata Di's version and Kishore Das version.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
What would you say is your most experimental film?
For that time, I think for 2018, when I was coming after Andhadhun Badhai Ho, it was Article 15. Because everybody was saying, don't do a dark film. You're on a high, box office is with you, why are you doing this? Everybody, they were naysayers all around, like, don't do this film. But I think that was the most experimental film.
Do you think that once an actor is somewhat established, they become somewhat immune to successes and failures, that movies keep coming to them because they've established themselves?
Yeah, it happens, of course.
It happens, right?
Yeah, but at the same
Because
time,
you're still a known face.
when you get box office success, you get more scared of taking risks also. I just don't want to do that to myself. If I'm successful at the box office, I should take even more risks and should not aim that every film should score this much. The risk taking should always be there. I think for me, it increases my risk taking ability.
Is there a fight within you sometimes that there's one part of you that says, you've reached this place, you have to maintain that place, and there's another part of you that says, take this risk, and you have those two parts keep
Absolutely.
fighting?
Always.
Yeah. Like a devil and an angel.
Yeah. Always. That at times I know that this may not work at the box office, but I love the script. And sometimes I feel we should go to the festivals and do this. And then people around me say, don't do this.
You listen to the people around you?
I have, a bunch of people around me. I listen to them also, but eventually I take my own decision.
Okay.
Yeah. Because it's like very romantic. It's very, this beautiful to go to the festivals and meet new people and go to a quaint place and showcase your film and be an artist. So there's always this tussle between you being a star or an artist. So
Maybe that's why you like doing indie music.
I love.
Because it's
Yeah.
not part of
It's a release.
It's a release. Yeah.
It's a release.
You can do your
Inside,
own thing.
I'm a purist. I'm an indie artist. But since there's a commercial success that I've gotten at the box office, so you want to do commercial films, but to be indie, you want to write something pure with shairi or music. Even my music, I deliberately choosing music which is little indie. So by indie, I mean that I want to make new sounds, sing in new languages, different languages, which is like away from my core language of Hindi and Punjabi. Could be, that's like a release.
That's your core.
Yeah.
So what's Thama about?
Thama is like an Indian vampire. So they've Indianized this. Earlier it was called Vampires of Vijayanagar, but it was not Indianized. So Dino thought that it should be completely folk, and that's Thama. It also comes from Ashwathama. So
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Are you playing the vampire? Are you allowed to say?
matlab, You can say that.
You know what you should say? You should say that an artist is always a vampire because he
never
feeds
ages.
off other people's emotions or sucks out emotions from
Yeah,
others or
absolutely.
something like
Yeah,
that. So
yeah.
that'll like cover
Yeah,
everything.
yeah.
But are you playing a vampire?
It's a question mark.
It's a question mark.
It's a question mark. It's a gray area.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it as big a question mark about as whether you're playing Prem in the next Suraj Bajate film?
We are still in talks, but yeah, I would love to play Prem in Suraj Bajatia's film.
But come to think of it, have you done a full-on romantic role?
There is a film called Meri Pyari Bindu. It's like a
Oh yeah,
romantic
right, with
role.
Pariniti.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's that was I think that kind of slipped under the radar.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
It still has this underground
Yeah.
love that we got for that
But that's
film.
the only proper romance that you've done, right?
yeah.
You've not done a full-on.
No.
You've not done this.
I would love to. Would love to. Though I get a lot of scripts like that, but has to be a clutter breaker again in that zone also.
But you know, if you keep looking at scripts that way, that really has to break the clutter, you're sometimes going to have these long gaps because, you know, it is hard to find clutter breaking scripts. You're okay with those long gaps?
I'm okay with those
because
long gaps.
that's when you make your music or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
There is
But
no
you're
hurry.
not like, oh, if I don't do a movie for 2 years, the audience will forget me. That thing is not there.
I think you just build the appetite.
Okay.
Yeah. More than overdoing it, I think it's better to be.
Right.
Yeah.
So what is this big thing about stars and Diwali or any festival releases? I mean, like it seems to be a thing, right? Like an actor finally gets a festival release. What's the excitement?
Yeah, after like 10 plus years in my career, I'm getting a festival release, that too a Diwali release. I think it's the mood in the air that people want to watch films, go with families, and only superstars get a release like that.
You're a superstar.
No.
No, I'm asking.
I would become.
No, because you know that's a.
I'm a star.
Yeah.
Let's keep it like that.
Yes.
But this is going to be a biggest film in terms of production and everything, the release, the mounting, the universe which Dinesh Vijan has created, and post 3-2, this is going to be the next one, Thama, with a big release, and I'm very excited about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially because you're playing the vampire question mark.
Gray area, sir. But
When you worked as an RJ, or maybe it was a VJ, now you worked with you interviewed a lot of celebrities, like you said, you were a journalist. But one person you could not interview was Shah Rukh Khan.
yeah.
Because there was some time issue, or he was running out of time, or you had some time issue happened.
Yeah.
If you had done that interview, what would you have asked him?
Oh God. It was a different me that time. I would ask for a role probably. I was a struggling actor.
That's a good one. That's a really good
Sir,
one.
मुझे role दे दो. मैं actor बनना चाहता हूँ. And I had written a note for him. I went to Powai. He was shooting for a car ad.
Yeah, commercial.
Car commercial, and I'd written one note. Dear sir, I'm a huge fan. I met you in Kasauli hill station in Himachal, my first ever holiday vacation with my family at a hill station, and you're wearing a red suit. You were shooting for Maya Mem Saab, and I'm that kid in denim shorts. So now I'm like 22. I want to be an actor. So I'd written that note. पता नहीं उनको note मिला होगा नहीं मिला होगा, but
You gave it to somebody?
I gave it to the AT. Like, please, can you just? I know I can't take the interview right now because he's busy. I was supposed to get like half an hour slot or something like that, but he was busy with the ad, so I waited for like 4-5 hours. But
Have you met him later?
I have.
And you told him this?
Yes.
What did he say?
He knows everything. He knows that I'm a fanboy. So yeah.
But he knew about the note.
I told him about the note. He didn't get the note.
He didn't get the
No.
note. I see.
कौन करेगा वो AD का देखो छोड़ना है मतलब
No, but there could have been an AD that was nice enough to go and say, okay, read it.
so I didn't get the nice AD.
You made this ad, have a break, have a Kit Kat. What does Ayushmann Khurrana do when he needs a break?
When I need a break, I listen to music and travel, live life, meet people.
Live life is very generic.
It's generic. I'll tell you, I don't watch a lot of movies. My movies consumption has gone less over the years. I know a lot of retro films, 90s, 2000s. But after that, since I've become an actor, you do 12-hour shifts. I want to keep myself away from the films. So I have friends not from the industry. So all kinds of friends. So live life in general is making music, writing poetry. I've stopped reading also, these days.
You don't read anymore?
I don't read anymore.
What's the last
for
book you
past
read?
2. Art of War by Sun Tzu.
Wow.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
You read that?
Like long back, yeah.
But what a
it's one
book.
when I was in that phase of Zen and the art of motorcycle maintenance and all that ek phase hota hai na that
of
where
course.
you're
Yeah.
doing all that. Everybody's reading these big books
Yeah.
about philosophy and all that. And
So by reading, I still read Hindi Sahitya, Hindi Kavitaएं. I met Rajesh Telang, who's an actor,
yeah.
on the way to Delhi, and he just signed his book and gave it to me. And what phenomenal poetry and prose. So I don't count that, because reading is like Sun Tzu Art of War is reading. Like you're doing something which is like away from you.
So what did it teach you?
It's life. Life is war. It teaches you everything. It's not about the bodily strength. War is about strategy and basic courage. That's about it. He's simplified everything, that you don't have to be like a 6'2" guy to fight. Anybody can be a fighter.
See, we've gone back to your Rohit Shetty movie. I think it's a very subtle plug. Well done, Ayushmann.
Oh, thank
very
you, sir.
well done.
I didn't even realize.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Thank you for being a supporter. Keep supporting, sir.
Well, thank you so much. It was such a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you, likewise.
And, I look forward to your films this year. I look forward to the announcement, the mystery question mark announcement about whether Prem will happen. And it'll be interesting to see you, because I think you'll give a very new flavor to the character.
That'll be very exciting. Prem se bolo Jai Mata Di.
That's not what he says.
I know, but still.
You've seen Maine Pyar Kiya, right?
Of course
I mean,
have.
like, when it released?
I've seen it 6 times.
6 times, okay. What's your favorite scene?
Wherever Lakshmikant Birde was there, I used to like
Okay.
that song, Tum Ladke Ho Main, that one, and then it switches to Indianized version where the maid and Lakshmikant Birde are dancing.
Yeah.
Aaya Mausam, and suddenly Babuji appears, Khud Khushi Ka. Yeah, but it's really funny.
Yeah, it is. My favorite scene is that Rupiyon Ka Mol.
Oh.
I cry even today when I watch that scene. It's like
Listen, I was 5 or 6, so मेरे लिए कुछ समझ नहीं आ रहा था. I was only looking at the funny scenes.
yeah, but watch it again. That's for me that's such a well-written part.
I just know that they were both 22, 23 when this film was made. Both Surajji and Salman sir.
Yeah.
What a crazy age to make a film like that.
Yeah.
22, 23.
I don't think you can plan that, right? It
can't.
happens.
It happens.
You have an instinct, and because there's this famous story, right? It's like some journalist went and told Suraj Bajata, don't worry, before Hum Aapke Hain Kaun, because everyone is saying there's no conflict in this film, there's this and that, it's like just too full of songs. And then some journalist went and says, don't worry, your next film you'll bounce back or something like that. And this is before the film, and then the film comes out, and it's
Because
like
all-time blockbuster.
So nobody knows anything.
Arey, what a film Hum Aapke Hain Kaun, yaar.
So-
oh God.
I have a feeling you are going to be Prem. Okay, on that note, you're universalizing it too much.
Yeah,
so I
yeah,
think, I'm going to put it out there. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Supreme Mobiles and Supreme Super Apple Days. Get instant discount up to 15,000 on iPhone.
Milky Mist Paneer. Milky Mist Paneer.
Velamal feels proud to honor the physical education teachers with 5 cars and 15 lakhs.